Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
All right, guys, today's show is brought to you by Victory Barber. Victory Barber is a truly classic grooming line created for men by internationally renowned barber Matty Conrad. Every product is made with quality ingredients and award-winning fragrances to create a line that stands out from the pack in both performance and presence. Victory Barber and brand has created a compact and comprehensive styling range for any man to create versatile styling regardless of the hair type. Now, I've been using this a lot. I love it. Thank you for the free samples. And when the samples are gone, I will be buying it. They offer a variety of products, whatever kind of hairstyle you've got or that you wish to achieve, they have the right product for you. All products are made in the USA. All formulas are cruelty and paraben free. And of course, if you Google them, you'll see they have a wide variety of products, which we are going to give you a great offer. If you go to victorybarber.com, use the promo code BYM15, you will get 15% off your initial order. Face creams, hair gels, you name it. These guys do it. Victorybarber.com. Use the promo code BYM15. 15% off. Okay, let's start the show.
Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the fuck up.
And new undisputed UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael the Count Bisping.
This is Believe You Me on the Gas Digital Network.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day special, Lewis. Are you feeling sexy?
Shannon, do we have any like hearts or anything we could put on the screen, or just fucking let's get a little production going? Why not, right? It's Valentine's Day.
And
we have
violins, chocolates, flowers, perhaps.
no chocolate, baby boy. I'm back.
Oh, the body beast is back. I mean, look at those shoulders. They're jacked. I mean,
All right, yesterday was shoulder day. Yesterday was shoulder day.
Well, I can see that. The shoulder regime combined with the shirt that's a size too small for you is really making you look swole.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Bro, you sell those shirts. You can definitely get the right size without having... Oh, man, stop it. You're scaring me, Lewis.
Well, it was the right size last week. There we go. What is it? This looks like it was drawn in 1986. These are the graphics we have.
These are the graphics of Valentine's Day from an episode of Snoopy in the fucking 80s. That's what it looks like right now.
It literally might be that.
But, you know, good job, you know. There we go. You know, I got to be honest, me and my wife sat there this morning having our morning coffee, watching the bullshit news, which is all Valentine's Day related. I went, oh, shit, happy Valentine's Day, babe. And she did the same thing, you know. So, yeah, kill the flowers, kill the love hearts.
Yeah, I told them to.
we get the point. We get it. It's Valentine's Day. There's a few love hearts on the screen, but they've gone now. Yeah, you know, I guess when you've been together almost 20 years, you know, you don't really go out for... you don't make a big deal of such a commercialized day, Lewis.
It's not really a big deal. You know, my girlfriend, she brought it up this morning, and we're planning a vacation right now, and I'm taking her on a nice vacation. I told her, I was like, this is what your Valentine's Day gift is. We're going to go back to Jamaica. We're picking the dates right now. We're going to go sometime in March. And that was it. That was a Valentine's Day gift. And this bitch wakes up this morning, and she's like, where's my flowers? Are you out of your fucking mind? Are you where's your flowers? First, we already discussed it. There are no flowers. And now, as we discussed last week, now that she brought it up, now I can't get her flowers. So now I have to go do something else. And I was like, of course I'm going to get you something later, dummy. But don't say anything, which I wasn't. I actually wasn't getting her anything tonight, but now I fucking have to.
I do the same thing. So I know what you're thinking. You're going to be shocked when I say this, but on February 28th, I'm going to be 40 years old, which is shocking. I know. I don't look a day over 31. We know this. But my wife's like constantly, what are we going to do for your 40th? I'm like, babe, nothing. I'm not bothered. It's just another day. But I guarantee if I don't get some kind of special thing or something to happen on my 40th, I'm going to sulk. I won't say anything, but I'll definitely have a private sulk and I'll be a bit quiet, you know. But I put out that, no, it's just another day, babe. I don't want anything. I don't need a surprise party. I don't need a very, very good gift, anything like that. But if I get what I ask for, then I will have a private little sulk. And that's human nature, I guess. We do that, you know?
Yeah. Well, listen to me. All I know is on your 40th birthday, they're going to wheel out a cake. And then all of a sudden, Puerto Rican rattlesnake pops out. Tss, no shirt.
Oh
all
my
fucking
God.
jacked. It's still a few weeks away, baby boy. I can get in shape.
It's like an episode, that movie Under Siege of Steven Seagal when the Playboy bunny, whatever, jumps out of the birthday cake. Except it's Luis J. Gomez in a leopard print thong.
Fuck yeah.
Hey, baby boy. No, that's the stuff of nightmares. That is the stuff of nightmares. You know, we've already mentioned a couple of action movies, and today, for me, with it being Valentine's Day, I got sidetracked. Well, not sidetracked. Who am I kidding? We don't give a fuck in this house. You know, it's very nice, and I'll say Happy Valentine's Day, and who knows, maybe we'll go for a nice meal, but we won't. We got things to do. For me today, I did a movie in Thailand a couple of years ago. You'll remember Triple Threat. That came out today. They released an official trailer for it. This is taking a long time to come out, this movie, but it's going to be worth it. So whilst everyone else is pontificating and talking about what they're going to do on Valentine's Day, I'm sitting there retweeting this trailer and whatnot like a true narcissist.
Is this the trailer? I'd love to see it. Let's go.
Let's take a look.
Put it on my credit card.
Put it on my credit card. Oh, who's that guy?
There he is. There he is.
Tonight. Shock and awe, baby.
Okay.
I like it.
It's almost done. Almost done. Think.
Do you have any idea what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I do.
It's great.
Awesome. Yeah, a film by Jesse Van Johnson. He was texting me this morning. He showed me the new trailer. Yeah, it's great.
Awesome.
Although I would say next time I would like, everyone else got a good long close up when they said their name. Mine was, it was a little brief.
Well,
so I'm putting in a foot.
Well, when you said there I am the first time, I'm not even lying. I had looked down at my computer for just a moment, just a quick second, and I missed you. Then I looked back up and I was like, waiting. And then there you go. Michael Bisping. Hey, you had a nice little fucking slate. Your name was on the screen.
Hey, I am not a blink and you'll miss it character in this movie. That's what a lot of people might think. No, it's called Triple Threat. 3 good guys, 3 bad guys. I'm one of the ensemble of bad guys. So
okay.
You'll see me on there quite a lot doing some killing. And ultimately, well, no, I'm not going to spoil anything. So there you go. Of course, I can't do that. But great cast of martial art movie stars there. Joel White, Scott Adkins, Tiger Chen, Iko Ways, and Tony Jaa. I mean, those guys were just incredible to work with. I don't know if did you follow martial art movies? Do you like martial arts, cinema, action movies, Lewis?
I mean, I now have a big appreciation for like superhero, big budget action movies because I have a kid and it's really fun to experience the Avengers and all these other movies through him. But growing up, it was like it wasn't like I didn't grow up on like martial arts movies. It wasn't like, oh my God, Jackie Chan movies or Bruce Lee movies. It was cool. And I had some friends who were really into it, but I was never a huge fan.
I wish I could say, oh, I loved the Jackie Chan movies and Bruce Lee movies because it sounds so much cooler and authentic. But, and of course I do. I mean, Enter the Dragon for me is one of the best martial art movies of all time, bar none. And Jackie Chan has done amazing work as well. But when I was younger, I was all about Jean-Claude Van Damme, man. I fucking loved that guy. I remember my dad, I think it was my 10th birthday, got me Kickboxer on VHS tape for my birthday. And I must have watched that movie about 1 million times. And then from there, I used to wait patiently for every release, what was it, the Bloodsport? I mean, that really got me going.
I mean, it's a weird thing
else?
because it's
all that stuff, all those movies, I fucking loved them. I really did.
Like a lot of them bring me back. So like I was a big fan, but it wasn't even the category. It just, I happened to be a fan of this movie, Best of the Best. I loved that movie as a kid.
Dude. Best of the Best was incredible. I love that. Best of the Best and No Retreat, No Surrender. That was a good one. But Best of the Best was definitely good. See, because back then, well, it was those movies that kind of Well, I think I'd started martial arts already. So when I was watching them, in my mind, I was that character, and I thought, that's going to be me one day. And that's what I was aspiring to be. So they were very inspirational for me massively. And as I say, they fueled my interest in martial arts. And now what I'm trying to do, obviously, with the acting side of things as well. So
it's so funny.
Yeah,
do you remember the plot of Best of the Best at all?
Hold on. Is this the one with the guy on the motorbike, the Asian American guy on a motorbike, and then the chubbier one that's in he was in Pulp Fiction or not, Reservoir Dogs or something.
Yeah, Sean Penn's brother, Chris Penn.
Is that Sean Penn's brother? I had no idea.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's and also
he looks like him now, just fatter.
Julia Roberts' brother as well, Eric Roberts as well was in it.
Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. No, that was a good movie. I liked it.
I really enjoyed it.
The thing is, when you look at them, when I was a kid, I'm like, wow, this is really good. And then recently, I made Callum watch Kickboxer. Was it Kickboxer or Bloodsport? No, it was Bloodsport. I sat him down. I was like, Callum, you got to watch some like classic movies, okay? And those movies in the late 80s, early 90s when they came out, and you're young, you think they're awesome. And then when you watch them now, you're like, oh, wow.
I'm
but
sure
they were amazing for the time. But Callum was like, is this a spoof? Is this supposed to be that bad? I'm like, no, you little shit. It is not. There's he is. He's just had the salt in the eye. He's had the salt in the eye, tongue pole there, stomping down. Of course, the army are waiting for him to send him back home. He went AWOL, which is not the movie AWOL. It's Bloodsport, but still, there you go.
There you go.
Nice little rolling break from Van Damme. Muscles from Brussels.
Nobody really strikes that way. Nobody does a kick and then poses while they flex all their muscles right after they go, ah!
What are you talking about? That's what I do every time in the mirror when I'm getting dressed. Just before now, I just had a quick shout. I'm like, ah! Let's go.
Dude, in Best of the Best, if what happened was the one guy's brother, when they were teenagers, died in like a full contact karate tournament. And you're so funny now with like MMA being so big and UFC, and these are like fucking high level athletes who are legitimate warriors. There's never been a death in the UFC, but in some local yokel karate tournament, some kid, he got kicked in the head enough times to kill him.
Well, it's a real thing, Lewis. I don't know if you know this, but on Kickboxer, okay, his brother goes out there to Thailand. He fights the very dangerous Tong Po. And what do we see? 6-12 downwards elbow to the spine, okay? And then he's paralyzed. And that fuels Frank Dukes. It's not Frank Dukes, whatever his name is. It fuels Van Damme to get revenge on his brother because the 6-12 downward elbow, which Joe Rogan and Daniel Cormier and many other people profess is a stupid rule. They say it's a stupid rule and it is no more dangerous than any other elbow. I say to them, have you not seen Kickboxer? Have you not seen the damage it did to Van Damme's brother? This guy was a cripple, Lewis, an absolute cripple. And you're going to flaunt 6-12 elbows in the UFC to me? No, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, you know what? To be honest with you, if that guy really wanted to walk, if he had faith,
if he conceived,
believed, he could achieve even walking again.
Yeah,
after
well, no, for
elbow.
sure. That's right.
I'm looking right now to see if there's any Taekwondo deaths in recent memory. I can't. Even injuries in Taekwondo are rare. It says injuries are rare.
When I was on the Bobby Lee podcast, I was talking about Japanese jiu-jitsu because that was my background from a very early age, which kind of encompasses most martial arts. And I was always taught this and always believed this, and that the majority of martial arts derived from Japanese jiu-jitsu. And then all the other martial arts like judo, karate, so on, they took certain elements of Japanese jiu-jitsu and enhanced them, just like Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Kimura went down to Brazil and the Brazilians took what he did and amplified it and they made it better. Judo, the same thing with the throws. Karate did the same thing with the strikes. So I said, Japanese jiu-jitsu was the mother of all martial arts. And he's like, what? Because he's Vietnamese. Bobby Lee's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Taekwondo, bitch. And I was like, you're right. That is Sorry, a Korean. He's a Korean, not Vietnamese. That is a Korean martial art. And yeah, so you kind of put me in my place there. Kind of made me look foolish. Thank you, Bobby Lee. Go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself, Bobby Lee. You cross Michael Bisping, we're coming after you. I'll fight his chick. You fight Bobby Lee. Everyone always wants us to fight other podcasts. That's the fight to make right now.
Don't come at me with facts, okay? When I'm on my high horse pretending I know things, do not rebuttal with facts. I don't like that, okay? Let's just ride with it. Let's just pretend I was correct. That's called being a good host, Lewis.
Yeah. I learned long ago just to let you go.
And if you let me go and I come back, it's true love. And if I don't return, it is what it's what it's meant to be, you know?
Have we gotten any suggestions? We've gotten no suggestions, Harrington, because you don't know how to write a tweet. I don't want to bully you anymore on the show. I'm done. But I asked him to tweet out the boys are looking for the best Valentine's Day gifts, and he wrote a long paragraph. And the boys are live. Bisping, Luis Gomez back for the second episode of the week. And then down at the bottom of it, they're looking for the best Valentine's Day gifts for their ladies. So nobody's really seeing it. Nobody's really reading that far on. They think it's just another. Well,
he's an idiot. And you're right, because a lot of people, they do. I see it. Oh, I feel sorry for Harrington. But if you asked him to send a little tweet, what was the body of the tweet? Tell me the body of the tweet right now. Let's break
what I
this
told
down.
him or what he actually wrote?
What he actually wrote, because I'm writing a tweet while speaking to you. What's your favorite martial arts movie of all time?
Nice and simple.
Discussing on at BYM Pod. Boom. Tweet.
While you're hosting a show. While you're hosting a show. Being entertaining,
and those
being
women,
charming.
And women say they're the only ones that can multitask. You know what I mean? It's easy.
They're the only ones who fucking pat themselves. They're the only ones who pat themselves in the back for it. That's it, right?
I know. It's like, so what? I can do multiple things. I do it constantly. So go on. What did Harrington write? What was the body of the tweet? I'm intrigued to know what he could have possibly got wrong.
The boys are live. Bisping and Luis J. Gomez are back for the second episode of the week, and they're looking for the best Valentine's Day gifts for their ladies. Reply with your best ideas, and we'll read them on the show. As always, watch live and free, gasdigitalnetwork.com/live. So it's, you understand, you're trying to, just marketing purposes. Good.
So the actual purpose of the tweet was, what's the word I'm looking for? It
misconstrued.
Was sandwiched between nonsense at the top and nonsense at the bottom. So therefore, you lose the intention of the tweet.
Yeah.
Because the people just think it's an advertisement, they're talking, and at one point there was a question posed. Now, the real question is how was the success of the tweet? Did anybody realize that we were asking a question and respond, or no?
Nope. No one. Just two people before it went live when it's not live yet, and they're complaining about how it wasn't live. That's it.
Well, I'm complaining how it wasn't live either. I was sat here for quite some time. I could hear you waffling in the background, Lewis.
I was pissing, not waffling. Away.
Yeah, okay. Well, see, I made mine very simple. And I already have a number of tweets.
See?
The original Karate Kid from Damon Martin, 1984, still holds up. Wax on, brother. Absolutely.
By the way, with the YouTube show, it's that YouTube show is so fucking good. Did you end up watching it, Bisping?
What YouTube show?
The Karate Kid.
Oh no, I never saw that. I have a very good friend who's a movie producer called Yaz Talat from Toronto. Great guy, and he loves it. He says
so
it's absolutely incredible. Really,
incredible.
Worth checking out. So would you advise subscribing to the YouTube paid section just to watch it?
I did the free trial, binge watched it, let that shit expire. Boom.
Bam, 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 bam. That's how we do it. We're not supporting artists in the industry and things like that. We're just going to take as much as we can for free. Do the free trial, cancel subscription. Good on you, Lewis.
First of all, we do this at Gas
Is that
Digital.
what everyone's doing on Gas Digital? They're subscribing, and then they're getting the free 2 weeks and then canceling. And then what they do is they resubscribe on a different email account, their wives, their girlfriends, their sons, and then they get another free trial. You see what I'm saying here, Lewis? Jesus.
Yeah, I don't care.
Jesus.
No. Doggy.
The independent movie industry needs supporting.
I don't care. I want people to do that. The reality is it's really inconvenient to do that. So this is what happened. This is the truth. Netflix was brilliant. Years ago they did this, okay? Netflix was encouraging people to share their passwords. Because what happens is, I used to share passwords. I used to go and grab my girlfriend's dad's password and then my friend's password, and then they would change it, and I have to find another friend and take their HBO Go password. But eventually, you start to fall in love with the service. And that's too inconvenient. To go and do it again the third, fourth, fifth time, it becomes inconvenient. So the point I'm making is, yes, by all means, go do that. Subscribe, cancel, go do a new email address, because hopefully they fall in love with it, and then they say, fuck it. You know what? $7 a month is nothing.
So what you're saying is, yeah, that just exposes them. The more they're exposed for free, the more they'll be inclined to eventually sign up for real.
It's a game of numbers. It's literally a ratio, a ratio of people, and you could probably there's probably an algorithm.
You are
and
a genius, Lewis.
You're right.
You are an absolute genius. It's incredible. I don't know how you came up with that. That's amazing. Okay. Whoa, Amber Alert, flash flood warning. Amber Alert.
Which one?
Oh my God. Flash flood warning, this area till 1:45 p.m. And here's avoid flood areas. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Yeah, I'm going to be avoiding them. I will tell you this. I mean, just based upon the Amber Alert, the weather here is really, really bad for Southern California. It has rained here more than it ever has since I've lived there. I mean, nearly every day for the past few weeks now it's rained. My dad flies out here. Jan Bisping flies out here Sunday for Callum State tournament finals next week. And unfortunately, no sun. I guarantee coming from England and from Clitheroe, is expecting to be able to lie out in the garden, because normally at this time of year in Southern California, you can sunbathe outside. But yeah, not right now. Amber Alert. Just going back to that tweet that I sent out though, Lewis, let's read some of these answers, because there's some interesting ones, some perhaps topic of debate. But so best movies. Warrior with Tom Hardy. Sorry. Have you seen that, Lewis? Do you like that one?
We're about to disagree. I liked it. You didn't like it?
I didn't like it.
Loved it.
I love Tom Hardy. I'm a massive fan of Tom Hardy. Go on, Shannon. Speak up or forever hold your peace.
I freaking love that movie. Like, you cry, you laugh, you're
It was
emotionally
great.
invested in the characters. I freaking love it.
They did MMA for the first time in a movie. They did it where it wasn't cheese dick. The choreography looked pretty good. You know, there was some things that were a little bit, you know, but it was for an MMA movie up until that time. I think Here Comes the Boom was probably the only other one that had like good MMA choreography. And actually, Here Comes the Boom was a good MMA movie as well.
Whoa. Are you reading these tweets because he says Warrior with Tom Hardy or Here Comes the Boom?
No, I didn't read
Kevin
that.
James.
I didn't read that.
Yeah. No, seriously, in the same tweet. Here Comes the Boom. Yeah, it was a bit of fun for, you know, a kid's movie. And Warrior, I don't know. See, I guess because I'm involved in MMA, or I was then, well, I still am. I kind of have a skeptical view of these movies and how Hollywood perceives it and romances it all. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. It was a good movie and it was well done, you know, but I just found two brothers fighting one another a little bit much. But as I say, it was a very well executed movie. Just in case any producers, listeners, directors, anyone, casting agents involved with that movie, just in case you're listening, I thought it was awesome.
I brought my son's.
I didn't.
I brought my son's mother to see that in the movie theater, and she really, really enjoyed it. She cried during it. I thought it did an excellent job at capturing sort of that world and a dramatic story. Nick Nolte was incredible in it.
Nick Nolte was very, very good.
Yeah, and those guys, and it's a Brit. They're both Brits, aren't they? Playing Americans.
Tom Hardy and who? Who was the other one?
Joel Edgerton.
Joel Edgerton. Yeah.
Chael Sonnen, in my opinion, a British Chael Sonnen. You should be inspired by the performances.
And inspired I was. In fact, I wrote a poem about it that night. I did. I went to bed. I was like, wow, I'm so inspired by two Americans playing MMA, two English people playing American MMA fights. I did. I inspired. I wrote a little note on my journey and drafted a poem that will remain secret because it's between me and my heart and my thoughts. But all right, guys, let's just take a quick second to hear from one of our sponsors, Organifi. That's right, Organifi. Listen, Lewis, I love this company. If you want to be healthy in this day and age, you want to invest in your body, you want to live your best life and live a long, healthy age with no ailments, no aches and pains, you got to take care of your body. You got to put the right things into it. And that's where Organifi comes in very, very handy. They offer a variety of products to help you do the things I just said. One of the things that I like is the Organifi Turmeric Gold. I drink this every day in the morning. I make a protein shake. I put in my protein, my berries, some peanut butter, and I put in spoonful of the organic turmeric gold, obviously laced with turmeric. It is a potent anti-inflammatory and antioxidant. It helps repair muscles and supports the natural healing process, Lewis.
Yeah, I know, and I'm back in the gym now too. So the turmeric gold is incredible. I've also been using their protein drink, which is delicious. It's all organic as well. A lot of protein powders. It's a lot of added crap. I don't like that, dude. The fact that it's just organic, 2 grams of sugar in the protein per serving in the protein drink, which is incredible. Plus, I never do green stuff at all. The green juice is fucking delicious. The reason I don't juice is because it's a pain in the ass to go to the supermarket, buy all the vegetables, all the other shit. It's a huge cleanup. It's a big mess. Take 1 scoop of the green juice, put it in 10 ounces of water, mix it around, chug it down. It's delicious. You get all your green.
Now, I was going to say, you know what I do? I put the green in and I put the turmeric gold in. Then you're getting a double whammy of goodness. Then I'm floating on air. I feel so healthy. It's crazy. And here's what some of the other things that are in the turmeric gold. Ginger promotes a healthy response to discomfort from achy muscles and joints. Lewis, you're going to like that one. Reishi mushrooms, known as the king of mushrooms, used in Japan to enhance youthfulness and longevity. That's why I look so good at near 40. So I recommend going to Organifi and checking out Organifi Gold and all of their other products. And if you want to do that, please go to Organifi.com, Organifi, Organifi.com. Use the promo code BELIEVE for 20% off your entire order. Organifi.com. BELIEVE is the promo code for 20% off. That is the end of the ad. Lewis, where were we? Carrying on here at TZG6 says The Raid, both of them. Have you ever seen The Raid, Lewis? No. Right, so Eco Ways, he's in Triple Threat, coming out soon. Keep an eye out for it. And I feel like this is fair to say his career was born on the back of these movies called The Raid. Do yourself a favor. Go and watch The Raid. I confess I hadn't seen it until I was working with him. And I might have downloaded it illegally as well. Just because I couldn't find it and my iTunes wasn't working, I couldn't log in, and I wanted to see it because I wanted some context because I was talking to him on the movie set every day. Do you know what I mean? But I hadn't seen the movie that made his career. So I watched it that night and it is incredible. It's in subtitles. So on top of it being an excellent movie, I can now go around pretending that I watch movies with subtitles. I'm very artsy. I'm full of culture and I enjoy subtitled movies. But seriously, if you watch The Raid, and I believe they're making a remake soon, which I can't wait to see, but The Raid is fucking incredible. One of the very best action/martial arts movies you will ever see. Do yourself a favor, Lewis, and watch it. I see you rolling your eyes internally. I see you not listening to me, waiting for me to shut up about it.
It's not true.
But if you don't watch it within a week, the show's over.
It's not true. I'm about to give you the Rotten Tomatoes rating on it.
Oh, okay. And please, tread carefully, Lewis.
It's got a great rating. 86%
okay.
From the tomato meter, and the audience score 87%. It's a solid score right there as compared to Best of the Best, which we both love from our youth.
Well, somebody here, Huxley Dunze on Twitter, said, loved this as a kid. No idea if it aged well or not, but man, was it badass at the time. Talking about Best of the Best, and we bigged it up. What do Rotten Tomatoes say about Best of the Best?
I literally want to stop doing the show. He just called it Rotten Tomatoes. Can this be the last episode ever? He just said Rotten Tomatoes.
Tomatoes. Hey, Lewis. What do Rotten Tomatoes say about Best of the Best?
Well, I've got to tell you what Rotten Tomatoes says about
seriously, man. We want to know what does Rotten Tomatoes say about Best of the Best?
I just had a brilliant idea.
What is the brilliant idea, Lewis?
We're going to do an entire episode where I do a British accent, you do an American accent.
Jesus.
Whole show, we don't break.
I'll never get an acting gig ever again. That's my main issue right now. I'm going in for all these auditions, and my agent's doing a great job. And I'm killing the auditions, but obviously I'm not American. I have been working with a dialect coach. But it is tough because I find myself drifting back into English at times. And then when you start focusing on that, you're not focusing on your performance, and it has a negative detrimental effect. But that might be fun one day, Lewis. Okay, but I'm enjoying these movies. Oh, go on. Give me the best of the best.
So
Rotten Tomatoes, bro.
It's unranked on Rotten Tomatoes, but Best of the Best 2 does have a ranking, and I remember not enjoying it as much as Best of the Best 1, but when I was a kid, I was always a sucker for a sequel, so I enjoyed it. Best of the Best 2, 10% on the tomato meter.
Jesus Christ, that is bad. That is bad. If I put all that hard work, time, and effort into a movie and it came out with 10%, my word. I mean, listen, Rome wasn't built in a day and all that good stuff, but that has got to be disheartening. Final one on this, and this guy names two amazing movies here. Can't decide whether it's Enter the Dragon or Ip Man. And of course, I think for the greatest martial art movie of all time, it has to be Enter the Dragon. Tell me you've seen Enter the Dragon numerous times and you can quote every single line.
Yeah, I've seen Enter the Dragon.
can.
I've seen Enter the Dragon. That's one of the famous ones. And yeah, it's fine. It's fine. That's Bruce Lee nunchucks, right?
No, well, he does do nunchucks in it. I watched it the other night in bed. It's great, man. It really is. It's just a classic movie. It stands up to this day. And it's kind of like, in many ways, the initial UFC, because Han, the main bad guy, he throws this martial arts tournament and all these fighters from all over the world come there and they compete against one another in between taking down an international heroin dealer, as one does. It's basically like Dana White selling heroin on the side on an island in the middle of nowhere and invites all the fighters to come and compete and sells them some heroin and gives them a bunch of whores at night.
That was sort of, you're describing the contractual obligation UFC 3 through 11, I think. That's sort of how it was done.
Yeah, listen, take the shipment of heroin and we'll send you some women and whores to your room.
But the original UFCs, how much were they sort of based off of those movies? I mean, that was sort of the concept. They when you hear about the stories, they wanted to do like a moat with alligators and fire and it was really a big spectacle, and I think you saw those classic movies like Best of the Best, like Enter the Dragon, there's probably 100 movies specifically with this sort of best martial artists from around the world, and you bring them in concept.
Bloodsport.
It's all of them. So the UFC, really, honestly, I feel like the original UFCs were more influenced by Hollywood movies and pro wrestling than boxing or kickboxing or any other sort of combat sports.
That's actually a really good point, and I never thought of that before because, you got to think those guys, the original, what was his name? The guy. Anyway, whatever.
Hold on, I got it. Art Davies.
Yeah, no, I know. Art Davies, there you go. Good for you, Lewis. My word. Gold star. Art Davies and the Gracie brothers and whatnot. You got to think they were somewhat inspired by those early martial art movies because martial art movies in the 80s and 90s, they were massive. Not so much these days. I mean, there's still a very big thirst for them, but you don't really see them in the blockbuster, the huge movies. But back then, they must have been inspired by it.
CGI has gotten so big with these movies. Like, how do you compete? How do you do a movie that you kick and punch and compete with the Avengers, who are the Hulk is fighting Thanos on another universe?
I'll tell you very simply, and I will say two words: CGI, martial arts combined. One of the greatest set of movies ever made. The third one was a little bit sketchy and got a little too complicated for Michael Bisping's brain. The
Matrix,
motherfucker! Wow, how good are those movies? When I saw the first Matrix, oh my God, it just blew my mind. I must have watched that 100 times as well. And a very good theory as to what is actually going on. I like it. I'm not saying it's true, but we might all be plugged into somewhere and it's just keeping our brain active. But man, the choreography and the fight sequences in the Matrix were just unbelievable. And then in the second one, when he sticks that pole in the ground and he's running around in a circle, and I was talking about me taking on 7-year-olds that time or whatever it was on the podcast. Yeah, come on. There you go. There's a prime example of CGI with martial arts choreography, and it works perfectly.
Never saw them.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I swear to God, I never watched them fully through.
You've never seen The Matrix?
No, I have. I really have. I've seen like parts of it. I've seen the famous scenes, the bullet, fucking that shit. I get it.
Typical American. You're going straight for the jugular. Just show me the big scenes. You don't want the foundation of the movie, the plot, the emotions, the heart, the journey, the struggle, the tear of emotions. Do I do this? Do I do that? No, just take me to the end and show me avoiding a bullet and Neo finally embracing that he is the one. Yeah, straight to the end. Watches that. Yes, seen it. In fact, do me a favor. Don't watch The Raid. Okay? Don't watch it. You won't appreciate it. You're not ready for it. It's got subtitles. I don't even know if you can read at this point, Lewis.
All right, if I got it, you got to choose one, Michael Bisping. You could only get to watch one for the rest of time: The Raid, The Matrix, or season 1 of The Sopranos. That's it. The only thing you can watch now.
That's great. That's great. Well, The Raid is very long. Sorry, pardon me. The Matrix is very long, so probably might compete with The Sopranos.
Well, how about
But
all three?
if I only-
All 3 Matrixes, both Raids, or season 1 of The Sopranos. That's fair.
Oh, you've just upped the ante, because the first question was Sopranos all day, because you got more content to view.
Yeah.
If I'm trapped on a desert island, I've got a portable DVD player and I got one DVD to watch, and somehow a plug in a palm tree to keep the laptop charged.
Palm tree.
So look at this, a very convenient power outlet on this random desert island. What would I go with? Probably The Matrix or The Sopranos. I mean, The Raid's up there as well. It really is. But after a while, I get sick of the subtitles. But the Raid is one of the best, one of the very best. Sopranos, though, is bloody good TV, but we don't want to repeat the show the other day. What would you go for, Lewis, if you were trapped on a desert island?
Well, I haven't seen any of those 3, so if I was just choosing it based on... Well, I've seen season 1 of The Sopranos.
For you, what would you choose? What would be your go-to? What would you prefer?
I'd probably go with the Matrix series because enough people like them, and I think that there's enough content within 3 movies, and it's a very, there's heady concepts and theories about shit. You could probably get lost in it and see... You probably watch the Matrix 5 times in a row and miss things that you didn't see each time before.
Oh yeah, certainly, especially the third one, because that it gets a little out there for me. No, you're not understanding the question. What I'm saying is, never mind those 3 movies.
Oh.
If you were trapped on a desert island, you could take one. Out of all the movies in the world, what would it be?
Ooh, it would be a porno. I don't really know the names of them though. Obviously, I'm gonna beat off. I'm gonna fucking watch Neo jump around or some fucking fat Italian.
It wouldn't be Game of Thrones for you.
Game of Thrones? Well, maybe. I mean, yeah, the entire series or just a
Yeah.
season. Oh man, the whole series would be so great.
No, the entire season, and season 8 is coming out soon. I can't wait. Although I am kind of pissed off because I was told every episode is like 2 hours.
2 hours, yeah.
And no,
No.
80 minutes, 1 hour 20.
No.
Yeah, yes, Lewis, yes.
It was supposed to be a movie every
episode is
week.
gonna 80 fucking minutes. I've been ripped off 40 minutes worth of Game of Thrones excellence every week. I've waited 2 years for this moment, Lewis, and this is what they shaft me with. They stick me with 80 minutes. I wouldn't spit on it. I would have been seen dead watching an 80-minute version of Game of Thrones.
It's ridiculous. But you know what they're going to do? There's no way it's over. They're going to come up. Aren't they doing a prequel or something? They're doing a prequel.
They are.
And they're going to, so it's not fucking over, dude. That whole series. And to be honest, it's not like it matters. Every season is so dramatically different from the next. I just want the writers. I want fucking dragons. I want magic and daywalkers and all this other shit. That's what I want. So it doesn't really matter that it's a prequel. It's sort of just another season.
Yeah.
It's not really ending.
No, for sure. I'm not too, don't get me wrong, some of the characters are fantastic and I enjoy watching them. But as long as, which of course it's a prequel, it all goes on in that world with the same kind of beliefs and, spirits and dragons and all that type of stuff and wonderfulness, then yeah, I sign off on that. So I can't wait to see it. But yeah, only 80 minutes, Lewis. So that is, I was a little disappointed, a little bummed out when I read that. I was devastated.
You know what we should do? When it comes out, we should do
should?
A review every Monday of the episode, like a quick 3-minute recap review and our thoughts on it.
Well, we will. What we'll do is, obviously we do 2 shows a week now. One of the shows will have a little Game of Thrones segment because not everybody watches it and we might alienate some of the listeners. So we'll have a quick fuck them.
I say we turn the whole show into a Game of Thrones fan show. Believe you me, the fucking Game of Thrones experience.
Believe you, Bisping. Oh, yeah. Let's do it. Okay, let's totally alienate our fan base. Love it. And let's talk about politics and other things as well that will totally split the audience. And they'll be like, no.
Okay, abortion. How do you feel? Go.
I'm all for it.
I'm all for it. If I get somebody pregnant right now, right now, let's go.
Yeah, it's like, hey, let's not even joke about that. That's a young innocent child. But I do believe if a woman was raped, then she has the the right to make up our own mind. But this took a turn for the serious rather quick. There is some fights happening this weekend, Lewis. Did you know?
2 fights, UFC and Bellator. Not the same nights, right? Friday night Bellator, Saturday night UFC.
Let's just talk about that real quick. Bellator. It's a massive fight for the UK, especially. You got Paul Daley taking on Michael Venom Page. These two don't like each other at all. Have you seen any of the theatrics, Lewis?
Sort of a little bit. I know they hate each other. I know that they're both massively popular in the UK. I'm a big fan of Michael Venom Page. We had him on, was it the podcast or the radio show?
Radio show, long time ago.
We should try to get him on the podcast again. He's a super cool guy, man. I really like him. And I don't really know Paul Daley. I'm sure you have some very different insight on these guys. How big is Paul Daley in the UK? He's like a really popular fighter there, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure, for sure. You know, when I first started doing MMA, when I moved down to Nottingham in 2004, Paul Daley was one of my original training partners. So we trained with this guy called Paul Davis, and there was me, Dan Hardy, and Paul Daley.
Paul Davis.
And there was a couple of other guys as well.
He was in the UFC,
yeah,
Paul Davis.
No, he wasn't. No. You're thinking of somebody else. But yeah, so there was me, Dan Hardy, Paul Daley, and as I say, a few other guys. But it's funny that me, Dan Hardy, and Paul Daley went on to be some of the biggest UK MMA fighters that there's ever been. And Paul Daley, you know, I mean, it's great to see him still competing at this day and age. Back in the day, and even still now, I mean, a very, very good knockout artist. His left hook all day was his big money shot. And he, totally fearless, just a bad motherfucker, man. In the cage and out the cage, which I love. Of course, MVP has looked outstanding, and his wins have been nothing short of jaw-dropping. You know, they really have. The narrative is that this is a big step up in competition compared to the usual opposition that MVP has faced. Now, when you look at his opposition, that's correct. The one name that you might recognize is Evangelista Cyborg, but he fought him like right at the end of his career as well. Now, I'm not saying that that's a negative on MVP, because at some point, you know, when you start your MMA career, that's just how it goes. You're supposed to do that. You know, like in boxing, you have a manager that keeps the fighter, that protects the fighter from themselves. In boxing, you know, you want to fight the best guys, you want to fight the tough guys, but a manager's there to say, no, not yet. You fight those guys when there's money on the table. There's no point fighting them at some local show for next to no money. Oh, this is beautiful right here. We're going to see
so
the finish,
brutal,
the
dude.
flying knee.
Do you remember what happened? He caved in his skull with a flying knee. You remember the injury?
No,
it was fucking brutal. Did he ever fight again, Cyborg? This is Cyborg's
yes, but
old...
but he had to wear a crash helmet.
Jesus.
I don't know if you saw his head. He ain't fighting anytime soon, bro.
No, he never fought again.
He literally caved his skull in.
He caved his fucking skull in with the knee. You see him go down. When somebody hits on top of the head like that, it's almost like you're not aiming for the top of the head, because you could injure yourself hitting somebody on the top of the head. He hit him so hard on the top of his head that he caved his skull in. Look at that. Holy shit. That is the most... literally.
Looks like Artem Lobov.
It's the most brutal injury I've ever seen in my entire life. It's fucking a nightmare.
Choo, motherfuckers.
God, he had his skull caved in. How does that not? I mean, we don't ever see that. How often do you see a fractured skull in MMA? It doesn't really happen ever. We see head kicks. We see crazy shit. It doesn't really happen. I don't even know another time where we've seen somebody have their actual skull caved in the sport. That's how hard Michael Venom Page hits.
Yeah, well, the thing is as well, I mean, MMA is a dangerous game. It really is. And that's the only thing that kind of gets on my nerves these days with the popularity of the sport, because, you know, everybody wants to do it, you know, because it looks cool on TV and there's money to be made and it's very popular. And, you know, there's lots of outlets that will take on a fighter's skill. You know, if you're a fighter and you want to go plow your trade somewhere, there's a lot of people that will hire you, you know, but people don't realize the dangers involved in mixed martial arts. I mean, look at that. I mean, that was a very, very serious injury. Fractured his skull, smashed it to pieces. You know, I've had all kinds of injuries, and people just don't realize. A couple who worked as an EMT saw Cyborg after told me he'd only seen an injury like that in a severe car crash. That's Jimmy Smith, former UFC commentator there, commenting on that. Yeah, man. So this is a really good fight. Now, MVP saying that Daley's, kind of lost a step and he's getting a little bit old. And he's about my age. I'm not sure how old Paul Daley is. I think he's a couple of years younger. But, there might be some truth to that. But I'm looking forward to this fight. I think Daley
35.
is definitely a step up in 35. Okay, so he's a few years younger than me. I think Daley's definitely a step up in competition. I think that MVP has youth, range, speed, and confidence on his side. I think maybe, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. It's a very, very good fight, and Daley kind of has the style to counter what MVP does. And for those people, MVP means Michael Venom Page, in case you're not familiar with it. The, what do you call them? The acronyms.
Yeah.
MVP.
You got it.
In case you're not familiar with the acronym, it's MVP, Michael Venom Page. What they say is when a guy is tall and long and throws a lot of kicks, like an Isreal Adesanya, what you got to do is get on the inside. You got to pressure a kicker, because if you're pressuring them, they can't use those long limbs. And generally, they're not as suited to fighting on the inside. And Paul Daley does that. He likes to get in the pocket. And as I say, primarily his left hook is his best weapon. So that's going to be a good fight. And then on Saturday in Pheonix, we've got Cain Velasquez taking on Francis Ngannou. Now, I fly out to Pheonix tomorrow morning. I'll be working for ESPN. And the fight's on Sunday. I fly out tomorrow. This is kind of funny. I fly out tomorrow to do a demonstration at the ASU, the university, Arizona State University wrestling room. I was there recently with Callum, scouting a scholarship offer with the wrestling coaches, right? They showed us all around. You remember we discussed it on here, and we just never spoke to them again. And then tomorrow I've got to go back to the wrestling room and do a thing after he just signed with San Francisco. So I'm going to go there and talk a little bit of shit.
Yeah, I'm sure they've dealt with it before. It's part of the game, part of the process. Some people say yes, some people say no. That's awesome though. That's really cool. That you're. Why are you speaking to wrestlers though? What are you speaking about? It's not wrestling. No offense.
No. Bro, you seen that English double leg takedown? Bro, seen the way I used to pick up Brian Stan and throw him on his ass? Jorge Rivera. I can hit a takedown, bro. No. Not speaking to them. Doing a demonstration for the show, for ESPN. So what we used to do, if we were in Las Vegas or somewhere, we'd go to the arena and we'd use the Octagon fight day. And myself and Kenny Florian or whoever it was, we'd do a demonstration. And then what they need to do in the main event, to win. And then they show that on the broadcast. Oh. So on this time, we're doing it in the wrestling room at ASU. So it's going to be quite interesting. So I'll be there getting heckled off all the wrestling team that we didn't join. And they're like, where the fuck are you doing a demonstration on wrestling? But look at this. This is an old school video here.
How old is Callum here?
I'd walked in from I don't know. He's a kid. Look how skinny he is. Oh, but Bisping gets that body lock. Oh, he's trying to pummel like his life depends on it, but no cigar. Double underhooks. He's going for a ride on the hard concrete, on the wood. Down he goes. And there's Dito when he was still alive, diving in. That's right, you little bitch. Know your place. Now make me a coffee. Pass the guard with ease. I passed that guard like it was butter.
It's the number one wrestler in California.
It's a Kimura. He's taking the Kimura on his 12-year-old son. You got to do whatever you do to get your kicks.
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, anyway, this is why you're a champion. It doesn't matter if it's your blood. Doesn't matter if he's a child. You're not going to let anybody get over on you.
Killer mindset, bro. Doesn't matter.
Most people wouldn't do that. Most people wouldn't attack their own child. They'd say that's too far from me. That's why most people can't become champions.
That's why. That's the separation. At some point, they said, no, I wouldn't beat up my own child, especially when he's 12. I'll say, for me, all day.
Yeah, come
all
at
day,
me.
every day.
You trying to take my gold, motherfucker?
This is what you sign up for? You sign up to take me on? All right, let's go.
Yeah.
What have we mentioned Artem Lobov before.
Oh,
And what's his face? Cyborg did look like Artem Lobov in that shot. I wasn't trying to be funny. He did look like Artem Lobov. But Artem Lobov, for those that aren't familiar, the powerhouse of Russian MMA that he is, he's been in the news recently, Harrington. Can you break down what's going on with Artem Lobov, if you would?
Well, he asked for his release from the UFC. It was granted.
Oh, can you not do your sexy radio voice? I hate you.
Okay. Just trying to get the news here.
No. Hold on. So that's his sexy radio voice.
Yeah.
How does he talk normally? Make him talk normally. Talk normally, Hamster.
Do you want me to edit this?
Will Mike, I'm just doing my best out here.
What the fuck is that?
So he signed with Bareknuckle FC. He is signed up to fight Jason Knight, a.k.a. Hick Diaz, a student of Alan Belcher, a former foe of yours, to fight at Bareknuckle FC.
All right. And I believe it was a 6-figure deal with pay-per-view points, correct?
I cannot find the exact money that he's making here, but I would assume he's getting paid pretty well.
Yeah. Well, 3-fight
That's
losing
great.
streak in the UFC. Yeah,
prior to the start of the show, Lewis, you said to me, I know you don't want to, you suggested this as a topic, and you said, I didn't want to speak about that because I wanted to, what did you say? I wanted to take a dump on Bareknuckle or something, which isn't the case.
Here's what happened. Kendall Grove was fighting Bareknuckle a few months ago, and it was right when that story came out, I said, do you want to talk about it? And you said at the time, I don't really want to discuss it because honestly, I don't know that much about it and I don't have much positive to say about it. So we stayed away from the topic because you didn't want to shit on what your friend was doing. So that's why, today I brought it up and I said, do you still want to discuss it? And you said, yeah, let's talk about it. So.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I'm happy where fighters still have a place to go after Bellator or the UFC. I mean, they're the top two promotions that everyone's trying to fight for. Of course, UFC's far ahead. That's number one. Bellator's number two, and then some guys, they've got nowhere to go after that. And then, you can go out to Japan or you can fight all over the place. There's small promotions everywhere. In England, there's Cage Warriors. I'm sure there's others in the US as well. King of the Cage and whatnot, but a lot of them don't pay very well. So while I think it is a bit of a backward step, the bare-knuckle boxing, but I do. It's dangerous, especially with bare-knuckle, and it's ultimately, I think it's great though that these guys, they choose to do that under these rules and they go and get paid. They can continue to make a living. Yeah. And that's what I'm in favor of. Do I think it's a positive step forward for the sport? No, but there's always been bare-knuckle boxing. That's been around for a long, long time. It's been around in England for a long time. And basically since the inception of combat sports, bare-knuckle boxing's always been there. Right. And I'm just glad that there's a promotion like this. And I don't know much about it. And there was some controversy recently. Baz Rutten went on a hell of a rant, a very, very negative rant about the promotion. I don't know any of the details, so it's nothing personal.
Maybe
but I'm just glad that there is somewhere to go for these fighters, after Bellator, after UFC. And if they're going to get a cut of the pay-per-view and they sell some and they make some money, then happy days. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of a weird thing because it's reminiscent of the way people would talk about MMA back in the day, and they go, "Oh, it's too brutal, and there's not enough rules," and then you sort of find yourself like, "Am I about to call this human cockfighting?" Time out. Hold on. Let me stop for a second. And my philosophy in life is, it's your body. You can do what you want to do with your body, and I feel like if there's two men that agree to get in the center of a ring or a cage or whatever it is, and they agree to a certain rule set and they want to challenge themselves, I think it's fucking badass. I just get concerned with, you talk about like longevity. I look at you in your career, you made some really smart decisions in your career. You had a really long career. I feel like there's not enough data in that sport right now to really go like, well, how dangerous is this? Can you break your hands to the point where you can only fight a few? Like what happens? I mean, I have no idea, having that style of fight. My concern would be you'd have more injuries, sort of like we just saw with Cyborg, with caved in, fractured cheekbones and really bad scar tissue. And maybe that would cut the shelf life of a fighter down. And I think what the good thing that MMA did is they created the rules to make it safe enough so you could actually have a long career. And it's not like it was back in the day, because if it was like UFC 1 rules where you're fighting 3 times in a night where anything goes, fucking nobody would have any careers. You can only fight a few times before it's over.
Yeah, absolutely. I do agree. And I guess the counter from the bare-knuckle advocates would be this. And it's one that does stand up, I guess. No, that's a good shout. Rebecca, she's on the Peloton with the headphones on. She won't be able to hear me. I have no coffee slave. Crying out loud. How very selfish of her.
You need a coffee slave.
When I come in here for 90 minutes, she's going to use that time effectively and work out. How dare she? How Very dashy. No. So the bare knuckle advocates would say this: MMA is safer than boxing because the gloves are smaller, because you take less concussive blows. That's why typically we don't see a lot of fighters dying after the fight. Unfortunately, it's a very, very sad statistic. That's what happens in boxing. They can take more concussive blows to the head. And predominantly in boxing, yes, of course, you use body shots. But for the most part, predominantly, I'd say it's probably 85 to 90% headshots to the body. So you're taking hundreds and hundreds of punches to the head. You take a lot of concussions because you can absorb more of those shots. In MMA, they say the glove is smaller, so you can't take as many shots. And you take one shot, you go down, your opponent can pounce on them. They would say, well, of course, with the same thing as MMA, we've got even smaller gloves. In fact, we've got no gloves. And on top of that, you can't kick, you can't elbow, you can't knee like Michael Venom Page did. It's fists only. So they might argue, and I guess it does kind of stand to reason, that the majority of the big injuries, well, other than broken noses and perhaps broken jaws, would be to the hands. I don't know if that logic stands up, but I'm assuming that that's what they would say. Oh, it's actually safer, which I guess in some ways it might be. The gypsies still in England, they've been at this for years, and I've never seen anything on the news about any of them dying, but yeah, that's what happens in the gypsy world in England. They meet up somewhere, they'll put money on one another, and they throw down. If it hits the floor, you let them get back up. It's called fair play. They get back to the feet, and you restart the fight until one of them says, I've had enough, until he's done,
So I'm looking at the rules here. And maybe I hope I'm not wrong about this. It seems like they are almost real boxing rules. Like they have you get a 10 count if you go down. I almost feel like the rule about MMA gloves being smaller and not taking as many concussive blows, it's not so much about the size of the gloves, or I guess it is, that's a part of it, but also it's about a referee stopping it and not having a standing 8 count. So, if you're in danger and you're not defending yourself, the fight's over. That's that. In boxing, you have an opportunity to collect your thoughts. You're concussed. Take a moment to collect yourself. Get up within 8 seconds. Beat the clock. Can you hold your hands up? Cool. Let me move forward now. In that moment, you're just concussed, but you're a tough motherfucker. You can still get up, move forward, and now you're taking another massive blow to the head. I think that's where it starts to be really dicey and dangerous. If you get concussed, you're not even supposed to get up and walk around, much less get up and start boxing again. So I don't know. I don't think the data's out there. I think with the cutting of the hands and all that other shit, on top of the fact that you can get concussed and get back up and start fighting again. It's crazy. I wouldn't want my kid to do it. I look at my son. If he wanted to do MMA, I would seriously consider letting him do that. I don't know that I would very much discourage my son from doing bare knuckle boxing.
Oh, for sure. And listen, I'm happy to see fighters after the UFC career is done to still be able to make it a living in that field if that's what they choose. You don't understand, for these fighters that make it their life, where they make it their living, they sacrifice everything else to be that. So then after the UFC says, or the Bellator, whoever it may be, they couldn't cut it, they're racking up some losses, and the UFC, thank you. But unfortunately, you're going to have to go away and maybe get some more wins in another organization. I'm happy to see these people still getting money. But that aside, I still don't think, I wouldn't put my kids into it either, to use your explanation. I definitely wouldn't. And you're right. That is an interesting point, what you say, in boxing or bare knuckle boxing, you get knocked down, you got 10 seconds. That's the thing. In MMA, if you get knocked down and you're kind of out of it for 10 seconds, the fight's going to be finished. If they jump in and they land 1 or 2 more heavy shots, the fight is over. In boxing, as you say, they might be knocked into next week. But if they can summon the willpower, to get back to their feet and convince the referee that they're okay, the fight will carry on. And that is the danger. I mean, you got to think, I don't know if you saw it, but the Tyson Fury fight against Deontay Wilder, and he was winning the fight on points. And then in the final round, he got dropped. And I thought he was out. And he was tough as shit. He got up at the last second and he went on to he dominated the rest of the round. But you can't tell me that there wasn't some kind of concussion going on there, because he got hit so hard and hit the deck real bad,
Yeah, and who knows? I guess a doctor would know, and they'd look at the brain activity there. And, I'm sure that you get hit like that, and then being hit like that on top of it is that much more dangerous. So it's kind of a scary thing. But once again, I feel like people can do what they want to do with their bodies, and if there's a market for it and people want to pay to see it, more power to them. There's a lot of things that I wouldn't let my son play football, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
The amount of injuries.
Absolutely. A lot of people say the same thing. You know, it's interesting. You said the studies aren't out there, and I don't think the studies are out on MMA yet, to be honest. I'm sure there has been some professor at some university somewhere that's looked into this type of thing. Certainly I haven't. As smart as I am, Lewis, I haven't conducted my study yet. I will do that, and I will publish it to the correct journal when I do. But in mixed martial arts, 20, 30 years time, we might see some of that stuff. I mean, Vanderlei Silva came out recently and he said that he's suffering the effects of multiple concussions in his MMA career. He said that he's having mood swings, he's suffering with depression and slurring his words and things like that, which
getting plastic surgery, very strange cat-like plastic surgery.
Yep. Not like I did.
No.
Not like I did. I don't look like a cat. I look exactly the same. I can just breathe. You will notice that I'm not breathing into the microphone. People even commented on YouTube. They said, wow, that nose surgery paid off. And it's still swollen, by the way. And it's still, if I touch here, it's still numb and still very sore at the top and still blocked and whatnot. You tell the people about Gas Digital Studios and believe you me, while I just run to the bathroom because I'm going to pee my pants.
Go piss really quick, guys. If you love the show, iTunes, latest 15 episodes are on iTunes and YouTube. So you can subscribe on iTunes right now. You can subscribe on YouTube right now. Leave us a 5-star ranking and a positive review if you go to the iTunes page. Leave us a little comment on YouTube as well. We love it. Okay. We are growing both of those fan bases dramatically. But you should know every episode we've ever done, 115 episodes now, available on demand at gasdigitalnetwork.com. You should also know, I think some people get confused sometimes, you don't have to subscribe to Gas Digital Network to watch the live streams. All of our shows are live. We will tweet or post on Instagram when we're going live. Usually it's Mondays at 3:30 and Thursdays in the afternoon. But just, if you go to gasdigitalnetwork.com/live, the live streams are free. You don't have to log in. There's nothing like that. It's absolutely free, motherfucker. So please watch the live show. But if you do subscribe, you get the on-demand library, pre-release on the episodes 24 hours before they go anywhere else, uncensored episodes, ad-free episodes if you hate fast-forwarding through the ads. So if you decide to subscribe, use the promo code BYM, and it'll get you a 14-day free trial. Mr. Bisping, also, Skankfest is coming up as well, which is our comedy festival here in New York City. Rumor has it you could be in New York around that time, June 21st through 23rd. That's a rumor.
It is a rumor, and I heard it as well myself, and I was like, whoa, I'm shocked. But actually, sounds like a bloody good time. Yeah. I'll be there. So yeah, I may be making my Skankfest debut.
Maybe.
I will be. Jesus Christ. Do not take the words out of my mouth and twist them. That was me replying to the affirmative, Lewis.
It's a maybe. We're not announcing anything yet. We're saying you may be there June 21st to 23rd.
It's a distinct possibility. It is highly likely.
If you guys don't know what Skankfest is, it's a 3-day long comedy party. We take over the Brooklyn Bazaar in Brooklyn, New York, 4 different floors, 4 different stages, nonstop comedy shows, live podcasts, and everything else going on nonstop all day, all night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If you want to share a drink or maybe a little joint with some of the best comedians in the world, Skankfest NYC is the place to go. If you do decide to come out, Mr. Bisping, you got to bring the wife.
It's the name, though, Lewis. It's the name, the Skankfest. It doesn't, I'm not thinking it's going to be the most high-class occasion. How is the clientele?
Well,
how is the clientele of the Skankfest arena? Do they shower? Are they clean? Do they have diseases? Will I catch a disease? They're all skanks, maybe skank means something different where you come from. Well, but is that a complimentary term where I come from?
First of all, where you come from, I think it's dancing to ska music or something. I think that's what the Brits are doing right now. But where I come from, we're all skanks, okay? I am a skank, you are a skank, we're all skanks. And on top of that, I'll tell you right now, you've met a lot of the fan base before because you've come out to LA to when we take over the Comedy Store. You know the fucking fan base.
Great time.
Some of the best people in the world. So.
Oh, absolutely. Very, very, very much so. You don't need to be of a high status individual to be a good person that I want to meet. But still, marketing purposes. Perhaps,
there we go.
Look at this guy.
He's skanking.
What do you mean skanking? What is that?
That's the dance. It's a skank. That's what that was the joke I made
And
about
that's
British people.
basically all there is. Hold on. What do you mean? I didn't understand your joke. You said there's a dance you do in England.
Yeah, ska music, like rock.
Ska.
That's like punk music with horns. And then when you dance to that like that, that's called the skank.
Ska music, as in like madness.
You
You've
never
lost me,
knock
bud.
on wood. You don't know that song? Mighty Mighty Boss Tones? Fuck off.
I'm not overly familiar with it, if I'm honest. I don't think I do know it. All right, swiftly moving on. Although I'd love to continue that random discussion. What have we got? I mean, I'm looking at the notes here. Hennenbrow takes on Luke Sanders on the ESPN Plus. Listen, Harrington, don't send notes on like one of the first fights on the card. I know I'm a genius, but I haven't got the ability to break that down yet. Johnny Walker gets his wish. Will replace OSP at UFC 235.
Oh.
I'll do a Lewis. That's what you do. Johnny Walker, man, coming back again. This guy's incredible. That's good. That's a good addition. Artem Lobov signs. Okay, here's Harrington's notes. Let's, as you said, pull the curtain back. Let's start at the top. Kane versus Ngannou. We talked about that on the last show. Next one, James Vick versus Paul Felder. Very, very good fight. Co-main event. We can discuss. Jimmy Rivera taking on Aljamain Sterling on the prelim headliner. Very, very good fight. Very good fight. But are we dying to discuss this on the podcast? Whoa. Big news. Jimmy Rivera taking on Aljamain Sterling. Excellent fight. Very, very even fight, I would say. And there's no front runner for who's going to win it, but still. And then we have Hennenbrow taking on Luke Sanders. Harrington, Artem Lobov signs deal with Bareknuckle FC. I mean, what are these notes? A ton of fighters calling out Isreal Adesanya. So who called him out? Paulo Costa and Weidman. Chris Weidman said, I didn't pay. Oh, no, this is what Adesanya said about Chris Weidman. I didn't pay any mind to Chris Weidman saying I'm overrated. Okay, why? Because he beat Silva a little more handily than I did. I'm overrated. Interesting. I could say the same thing about him. Heavily. Yeah. When I get this belt in my next fight, they can all line up and they can all find out how overrated I am.
Well,
Ooh.
What do you think about that? Because here's the thing. Overrated isn't really a knock. It's not. All it's saying is the general consensus is that he's God's gift and it's sort of unproven. It's not even saying that he's not. All it's saying is that right now he's being rated further than he really is. And to be honest with you, I think that's sort of not up for debate. I mean, he's getting a title shot, coming off of, Silva was the most impressive win of his career, and it wasn't a super impressive win. Not many people are getting title shots off of beating Anderson Silva. He's not really the gatekeeper of the division. There's a lot of other guys that are sort of there that you'd kind of go like, oh shit, I don't know, he might have some trouble with. So I understand the overrated thing, but I don't know. It's almost like Conor. I said Conor was overrated when he got his title shot, and he didn't really have many crazy big fights. It was Chad Mendes, I believe, was his the big tough fight, and then he got the title shot off of German guy,
Dennis Seaver.
Dennis
Seaver.
Yeah.
Who was never in contention for a title.
No, absolutely. And you're right in what you say, but also there's the other side to it. You're absolutely correct in what you say there, right? You beat Dennis Seaver, but you got to look at the body of work prior to it that paints the whole picture. It's easy to sit there and say Dennis Seaver, or even with Isreal against Anderson, it's easy to say, well, that fight, you shouldn't get a title shot based on that. But if you look at Conor's body of work leading into that, beating everybody handily, stopping them all in like the first or second rounds.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, the interest that he and also Isreal are also making, the splash and the impact in the UFC.
Yeah.
People are talking about him becoming a fan favorite, putting on good fights, entertaining style, excellent on the microphone, massively charismatic, the it factor, as you say. You put all that together, and then on top of that, they deliver in the fights. While the individual fights together aren't enough to get them a title shot, when you put it all together and you look at the body of work and then the fact that the UFC needs stars and Isreal is a star in the making, he is a star now. He is a star. Also, star will only get bigger if he can win his next fight and become the champion. But that's the big if. So I hear what you're saying. Overrated isn't really an insult. In fact, I spoke about it on the Joe Rogan. I think I said it on here. I think when I said I wasn't sold on Isreal Adesanya, I think Israel said something, he responded on social media or something. I forget what it was. I think it was on a story or something. But I wasn't saying anything bad about Isreal Adesanya. I was just saying I wasn't sure. When he beat Derek Brunson was a shadow of himself. He wasn't aggressive like he normally is. And Israel went out there, beat him in style, absolutely flawless victory, looked incredible. So it's not a knock on him. It's not a knock on him. I'm just saying It's a knock on his opponent. What is he supposed to do? Go out there and win fights in style. He's been doing that. And he beat Anderson Silva in style. Listen, could it have been more action-packed? Could there have been more action? Could it have been a bit more dominant? Yeah, maybe. But at the end of the day, he got a win over one of the greatest of all time. And that still stands to its test. And then prior to that, Derek Brunson, and then the list goes on and on. So he's had some big wins. Or when you look at the body of work, and there is no other contenders. All right, there's Gastelum right now. He is the number one contender. And then who's next? Jacare just got beat. Chris Weidman just got beat off Jacare, but Jacare lost a few before that to Whittaker and Gastelum. Weidman, he's calling out Anderson Silva for a third match. That's an interesting fight. I think people would want to see that. There's a throwback element to that fight. But next in line, realistically, when you look at it, is Isreal Adesanya, because the middleweight division right now is in a weird situation. You go back a couple of years ago, there was myself, Rockhold, Whittaker, Gastelum, Chris Weidman, Jacare,
Romero,
Machida, Romero, Musasi. It was a fucking dangerous landscape. Now, not so much.
Yeah, I mean, the middleweight division, I remember back in the day, was really thin. When Rich Franklin was the champion and Anderson came in, it was such a thin division. There was like nobody there. I mean, Travis Lutter won the Ultimate Fighter and got a title shot against Anderson Silva. It was like slim pickings for Anderson, and Anderson was just killing everybody. And then literally right when you became champion, it exploded, and it was just like murder after murder after murderer. So yeah, look, it's not a knock on Isreal Adesanya, because I'm just saying that I don't have the data to go like, oh my God, this is the next fucking coming of Christ. Because you don't really know. The UFC is obviously taking a gamble on him, and they take the gamble. Sometimes it works. Conor McGregor, they said, okay, we're going to push this guy. They made him a star. They know, and it's happening with Israel right now. They see that he has all the makings of a star. He's got to win the title. He's got to win it. He has to follow through on that in order to become that star. And then it's sort of what he does with it from there. But I can't fault the UFC. Definitely can't fault Adesanya for just being undefeated and winning all of his fights in spectacular fashion.
Shame on him. How dare you come in here, win fights, stay undefeated, and be entertaining and charismatic on the microphone? No. We don't stand for that. No, not over here. Shame on you for doing so well.
But you can't hate on the UFC.
What a set of fucking haters we are.
Yeah.
The guy comes in, when we're sitting here and we're going, when you look at his competition and blah, 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 blah. What a set of fucking arseholes. The fucking poor guy grew up in, Nigeria, I think. Obviously probably wasn't a bed of roses. Moves to New Zealand, makes something of himself, goes on a stellar kickboxing fucking run. I don't know what it was, but he won most of his fights. Transitions to MMA, and he's been undefeated ever since. He's had 5 or 6 wins in the UFC, beaten some names, beaten what's his face, the Hawaiian guy, Brad Tavares. Then he beats Brunson. Then he beats Anderson Silva, and it's still not good enough. We're still going, oh yeah, but he doesn't really deserve it. Shame on us. Shame on us. And Isreal Adesanya, we formally apologize. We sound like little bitches, Lewis. We sound like little bitches.
I apologize for what? We didn't do anything. We didn't say anything. We didn't shit on him. I'm saying that the fan base sort of saying that he's overrated. I understand where they're coming from, but you have to understand the UFC's perspective, where they have to gamble and make stars. It works sometimes, but then it doesn't work. You look at what's his name? Fuckface with the spiky hair and the abs.
Fuckface, Sage Northcutt.
Yeah.
Actually, a very good description.
Yeah. So he's the guy, where they also tried. They were like, cool, we'll bring him along too. They do that. They start to plant these seeds and they're like, this is going to be the next star. I don't know what it is. I don't know if they fucking slip the commentators a little bit of cash. You'll be able to give us some insight on that eventually to say, oh, this is the next big thing. Because anytime Rogan says it, I'm like, Rogan just said this is the next guy.
Listen, let me tell you this right now. I've only commentated once for the UFC, but I've been around the production for long enough. Trust me. They do not slip you a bit of cash and say, hey, say some nice things about this guy. Okay? Pulling the curtain back. There's nothing to pull back. Okay? That does not happen, Lewis.
You're going to tell me that Mike Goldberg wasn't slipped an envelope to say this is the Machida era. The Machida era has arrived.
Bro. It looked like the Machida era had arrived. He knocked out Shogun. He was on a tear. He was beating people in style. He knocked out Rashad, and he did it in a traditional form of karate, okay, which is a throwback. And nobody thought it would work. Shame on you, Lewis. One more. My word. You are saying that the UFC are paying off their commentators and their broadcasting partners to hype people up. Sorry, I will not stand for this.
I'm going to start some conspiracy theories. You don't even know. It's over. Circle of trust. Circle of trust.
You're going to get me fired is what you're going to do. The shitty websites are going to say, Michael Bisping says on
confirms.
His podcast, confirms Lewis's wild allegations, which is not the case. But no.
We gotta wrap in about 7-8 minutes or so. So if we want to get a couple of video questions, now's the time, Mr. Bisping.
All right. Well, let's fucking do it. Let's go.
Harrington, pull up some video questions. He's coming back in a second. Also, I'll tell you right now, we're going to be in Toronto March 10th, doing a sort of live version of the podcast. Michael Bisping's one-man show. I'm doing some stand-up as well. Toronto March 10th. Tickets are still on sale, going very fast. I'm actually going to be in
Ticketmaster.com. You're going to be in Toronto this weekend. I see, making your Sunday. Nice. Ooh, I was going to say debut. I didn't know you'd been there, Mr. Fancy Pants comedian. But yeah, at the Great Hall, Toronto. Check it out. I'll be talking about my life inside and out. Me and Luce will be busting each other's balls and hopefully entertaining you all. Ticketmaster.com. March 10th, Toronto. All right, video questions. Do we have any? What is the deal? Harrington, can you load them? Are we going to have technical issues?
There's no technical issues. He's in the lobby area right now. He's now back at his seat. If you guys want to join the conversation, send a video question or video, audio, text, any format. If you want to communicate with us, the best way to do it is to shoot us an email at bympod@gmail.com. Goes directly to Shannon too. So if you want to include any sort of, love messages or dirty dick pics, that's okay. We're not going to hate on that. And and
Shannon doesn't either. Shannon actually quite enjoys them. She welcomes them with open arms. She actually said to me, Michael, I'm not getting enough dick pics. So seriously, in all honesty, please continue to send them to Shannon. She loves them. Harrington, question 1, perhaps.
This is Andrew from Montreal.
Hey, Mike and Lewis. My name's Andrew from Canada. Huge fan of the show. Lewis, Mike, I know you guys are really funny. And Mike, I know you've had a history fighting in Montreal 2 times. Lewis, next time you come to Montreal for Just for Laughs Comedy Festival, if you do the Nasty Show, I'll buy you a beer and I'll come buy tickets. My question to ask is regarding Robert Whittaker. Some have said they should strip him. Some have said let him wait until he recovers. Michael, you were about to fight him in Australia, actually, in 193 before Uriah Hall did. And I want to know, what do you think the UFC should do? And what do you think of Robert Whittaker as a champion of the middleweight division? And if he's really the GSP of Australia, as Ariel Helwani said?
All right.
I love the pan away as well. The camera work, he panned away. It's like it was the end of a movie.
Listen, this is what the believers are doing now. They're upping the production level, and I like it. What was this guy's name again?
It was Andrew from Montreal, and he was panning to.
What was he panning to?
The GSP versus Bisping poster in the corner of his gym.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I see, Andrew. You're trying to fuck with me, are you? You're just trying to send a little reminder. Okay. I'll see you about. And you'll be extra fidgety when I catch up with you.
He just showed you his gym, though. He was in front of his ring. He was like, "What's up, motherfucker? You want to do something?"
He's like, "This is how I roll. This is what I do. This is my palace. This is my church. It's my church. I work out. I lift weights. I hit the bags, heavy bags.
I wonder if he's
bags,
tough.
speed bags.
Because he looks he looks very wimpy. If I met him,
I
wouldn't-
guarantee he's not tough.
No.
Seriously. That's why he's in the gym. He's trying to mold himself into a man, which I applaud you for, Gary, from Montreal.
not
Incidentally,
it's not Gary at all.
Andy?
What was his name again? Andy.
Andy from Montreal. So he's the least sounding Frenchman, by the way, ever. I thought he was going to talk like this, but he was very disappointed. But
Michael
Andy,
Bisping.
thank you for the question. For me, no. So Montreal, by the way, great place to fight. Very, very good. The fans are awesome. They love MMA in Canada.
Smoked
they really
meat
do.
sandwiches, poutine. The food's fucking great. Hot
it is
chicks,
good.
hot broads in Montreal. It's like, imagine New York chicks, but they got a little French accent. Oh, they're so hot.
Oh, sounds good. Sounds good. What was the question? Robert Whittaker. Okay. So Robert Whittaker, listen, the GSP of Australia. I mean, I kind of like that. That's not a bad comparison, although not technically true. You know, I mean, he hasn't been as quite impressive as GSP. He lost some fights at welterweight. He's done well at middleweight, though. He really has. He looks sensational. Both of his defenses against Romero, incredible. Pardon me, one defense, one inaugural interim belt because I was injured. But he's doing what he needs to do, and he looks very, very good doing so. The talk of stripping him, I think, is a little premature. It really is. Listen, I can't remember what the first injury was that he had to pull out of a fight for. I forget what that was. But this one, you know, it's no joke. Come on. Dana and the surgeons said apparently he could have died if this wasn't taken care of. And he's going to be back soon. Now, because he did pull out of a fight a while ago, and if this was a more serious surgery, a longer recovery time. If this surgery had a longer recovery time and it meant he was going to be out for about a year or so, or 8 to 9 months, then yeah, I'd support an interim belt. But no, they're saying 4 to 6 weeks he should be back. So I don't think there's any need for an interim belt. I really don't. I know Adesanya is calling for that. He's saying, oh no, in fact, Adesanya said, fuck interim belts. Let me and Gastelum fight for the real belt, and Whittaker will be the number one contender when he comes back. Now, listen, I understand Adesanya's mindset there. That's what you should be doing. He's trying to get the belt any way possible, you know? But no, that's not the right call.
I agree. And to be honest with you, look, stripping somebody of a title should be the absolute last thing that anybody wants to do. Okay. It delegitimizes, is that a word? I don't know. It takes away all legitimacy from the belt when you hand it away to a guy who never actually won it. And I hate when it happens. So anything we can do to avoid that should be the goal. I've said this for a long time, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. I think there needs to be clear-cut criteria. I think 1 year. If you have 1 year off, you do not defend your belt, you're stripped, they do an interim, whatever it is, just make it a year. And I think that's a perfect amount of time, because you should have to fight at least once a year as a champion. I think more than that, you should fight twice a year, but you know, at least once a year, I think it's fine. I think part of the problem with creating all that clear criteria, whether it's with the rules, with any of these things, judging, it sort of takes away half the content and half the debate. All the podcasters and the people talking shit. Think about how much debate there is about these little things. So if they made everything super clear, I think it's sort of bad for the marketing of the sport. People are constantly having these conversations. What's better? What about weight cutting? This, that, the other. It just constantly creates a conversation in the media. So I think it's probably good overall for the growth.
Well, I mean, I kind of hear what you're saying, although I do agree with 1 year I would say is the right amount of time. You know, generally a lot of like world champion boxers will fight only once a year. Certainly when you get to that level and you're earning like real money, then once a year, twice a year is enough. So yeah, if you don't fight within 1 year, yeah, I like that rule. But let me tell you about the time, because obviously they brought in an interim belt when I was the champion. And I was actually out in Thailand. I was filming the movie that we spoke about at the start, Triple Threat, available in cinemas next week, mother effers. But I was nursing a very nasty knee injury. I had surgery right before I flew out to do Triple Threat. And my knee was swollen up like a balloon. And they took out some loose bodies, and they actually took some fat from my stomach and injected the fat into the knee. Funny little story for you. So I finished surgery and I was flying out to do this movie in it was about a week or so. And obviously, I'm going to do a movement. I don't want to look fat, right? So I come out of surgery, and obviously, I'm numb. This is how dumb I am. This is how stupid I am. My leg's numb. And the doctor actually said, the recovery is going to be almost non-existent. It's nothing. It was a minor operation. We took some fat. We injected it in there. It'll like help lubricate the joint. And we went in. We took some loose bodies. But honestly, the recovery is very, very minimal. You'll feel fine in a day or two. So I took that to heart, and I came out. And because of the anesthetic in the leg, I'm like, I feel great. Yeah, the doctor was right. But I was like, I wanted to be in shape for the movie because I was a little bit heavy because I had these knee problems. I hadn't been training. So I went for a run. I went for a run while my wife went to pick up the kids. And then I did 5 rounds of bag work in the garage because I'm doing a martial arts movie. I'm going to have to be able to get my kicks nice and high. So I'm practicing my kicks in the garage. By the time my wife comes back from the garden, I'd gone to stretch by the side of the pool in the sun, trying to work on my tan again for the movie. Yeah, and then at that phase when I was stretching, the anesthetic wore off. And then when my wife came back from picking the kids up, I'm led in the garden going, babe, I can't get up. I'm in so much pain. She's like, what the fuck are you doing? Running and hitting the bag. You just had surgery. So yeah, there's how much of a knucklehead I am. Anyway, I'll get to the point. So I'm in Thailand. And Dana White calls me. He says, Mike, we want you to fight. I forget who it was. I think it was Romero. We want you to fight Romero on whatever the date was. I said, well, listen, I'll fight Romero. That's not an issue. But I sent him a picture of my knee. I said, my knee's still really, really bad, Dana. And he goes, okay. So if you can't fight on that date, we'll have to bring in an interim belt between Romero and Whittaker. I went, all right, we'll bring in a fucking interim belt then. If you want to bring in an interim belt, that doesn't bother me. Because realistically, and everybody knows this, an interim belt just determines a clear-cut contender. And if anything, it'll make the pay-per-view bigger because they can market it as champion versus champion. So I went, yeah, okay. You're not stripping me. Bring in a fucking Mickey Mouse interim belt all you want. And then I went, okay, cool. And then Whittaker, and I'll just throw this out there, I've said it many times, Whittaker and Romero fought. Whittaker won. I accepted the fight. We were supposed to coach a season of The Ultimate Fighter. Whittaker didn't want to do it. He went on hiatus, and in the meantime, I fought GSP. So there you go. There's my answer to that question.
So yeah, Whittaker ran for Michael Bisping. That, and in short,
what? Yeah, he ran from Gastelum. He ran from me. You know, I mean, geez.
He's trying to get back down to 170. He's doing so much running. What's going on?
My word, he's backpedaling. Let's do the next question.
We got to do this one super quick because we got to wrap up. We got to be out of here just a few minutes. So one more question.
Lewis, if I have to elaborate, I will elaborate. I'm sorry. You know, I'll give the listeners the full answer, you know.
Go ahead.
I've got a lot of things going on in my mind, and if it comes to the forefront of my consciousness, I have to divulge this information.
Go ahead, Harrington.
Oh, guys, this is Joe Croft.
Joe Croft.
Oh, like we took him by surprise. Oh.
What is he doing there? What a weird still shot. Looks like he's sucking an invisible dick.
Hold on, stop. I haven't heard him. I can tell by his attire. That sweater, definitely English. I'm just going to say definitely English, but go ahead.
It's also a chimney sweep, apparently. Why is he in front of a chimney?
All right, Mike and Luis J. Gomez. How's it going, lads? Joe here from Shrewsbury. Decent show you've got, I suppose. Listen every week on audio. Don't watch it, but don't think I'm missing much apart from the Shannon cam. Anyway, a couple of questions. Mike, I was away for UFC London ticket sales. Don't know if you could do us a favour and grab us a couple of spares, mate. Don't want front row, heard their shit, so first riser would be perfect. Best in the house. And could either of you tell me why people constantly woo during the fights? It does me head in. Grown men wooing all the time. Woo, woo, woo. Don't get it. Anyway, nice one, lads. Hopefully catch something of yours if you do a live podcast or something in London or England. I know you lads have got the Shane belt. I've got this at home, look. I use it to call a bread knife if I want some food or a drink or another beer. Could come in handy, lads. Anyway, see you later.
Love it.
Been enjoying the podcast. Fairly decent, I guess. Hell of a compliment there, buddy. What was the exact wording? It was like, I guess it's pretty decent.
I guess you got a pretty decent show. I don't really watch it, you know. I don't know why I would have a reason to, except for the Shannon Cam, really.
Yeah. You know, I just listen to it. I mean, I can't be bothered to go to YouTube and search it. I don't do that. You know, but Joe from Shrewsbury, we appreciate the question. We do.
What was the question?
The wooing.
Oh, the wooing.
The wooing. They do. Have you heard this?
Woo! Yeah, I know what it is.
Is it Ric Flair?
Yeah.
And what is the relevance with whatever's happening in the octagon?
It's fun. It's just fun. It's a little fun thing to do. Why do they go ole, 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 ole? It's fun. Could be good. It could be bad. There's no rhyme or reason why they start fucking oleing, right?
Are you talking about in England?
In England and America, at fights.
Yeah.
You know, people do the wave at a baseball game. So I guess it used to be out of boredom, right? But they do it just for fun.
It's interaction. It's interaction, you know, with the crowd. It is fun. It is fun. The woos, I agree with our avid listener, not viewer. Get it together. I agree with him. I do find it somewhat annoying when everybody starts wooing. I really do. But I like to hear the crowd. I like to hear cheering, singing, Mexican waving. And if you want to woo, go ahead, be my guest. Joe, I suggest you, stop being so negative. How about that? You know, fairly decent show, my ass. Fairly decent show, I guess.
I don't really like listening to the woos.
Here's a guy hating on the crowd, enjoying himself, being in the moment, trying to be a part of it, creating an atmosphere. You know, you want to sit on the first riser, Joe, but you're not going to join in with the woos? No, I'm sorry. If we're going to get you a ticket, it's going to be on the floor, front row. Sorry, buddy. That's how we roll.
Sorry.
You know,
only wooers get the first riser.
No first riser for you. Front row, celebrity section with Dana White. Yeah, that's right. You're going to have a sore neck. You're going to have a sore neck. Looking up, wiping blood and sweat off your forehead. Ha!
All right, look,
serves you right.
Let's wrap this one up. We loved you guys. Thanks for listening to today's show. We'll be back on Monday, right? Yeah, Monday.
Yep.
I'll be back. You'll be back. We'll both be back. All right, that's it.
Yeah, baby.
Peace.